Thank you very much to everyone who joined us. My name is Morgan, and together with Joanna, we're going to moderate this event. It is my great pleasure to open today's panel with a focus on the rights of women and girls in Turkey. Our guest today is İlayda Önal, attorney at law and the Secretary General of ECPAT Turkey. She's currently working as a project coordinator in Flying Broom Foundation. She's also a national consultant to the Council of Europe. She was the former chair of Price Bar Association, Women's Rights Commission, and Children's Rights Commission. Her work in areas as a lawyer and trainer are focused on gender, violence against women, child neglect, and child abuse. A warm welcome and thank you for being today with us. And the floor is yours, please.
Thank you, Morgan, for this great invitation and your kind words. I would like to thank Young Educators team for this great invitation and the opportunity. I am very thrilled to meet with all the participants now and to have the chance to be able to talk about the issues which I find very important and vital. As Morgan mentioned earlier, I am working as an attorney at law in Turkey and specializing in the fields of women's rights and children's rights. I am currently working as project coordinator in the Flying Broom Foundation, and this foundation is an NGO who works on women's rights and gender. I am also the Secretary General of ECPAT Turkey, and today I am talking on behalf of this organization actually in here. And I want to mention a bit about ECPAT Turkey for those who are not familiar with the organization. ECPAT is a worldwide network of organizations working to end the sexual exploitation of children. In Turkey, before the foundation of our NGO, like ECPAT Turkey, we were operating in Turkey since 2007 as a network for combating commercial sexual exploitation of children. In 2019, the establishment of the association was held in order to be recognized as a legal entity due to the legal regulations in Turkey. Since 2007, in line with our target, we took part in various projects with local and international non-governmental organizations and public institutions, and we continue to work in this direction. So it is possible for me to say that I worked as a practitioner in this field, and I devoted myself for the prevention of violence against women and children. So again, I want to thank you for this opportunity to talk and to explain myself to you. For today's presentation, I will try to give information about women's rights and children's rights in Turkey. First, I would like to share with you my presentation. Yes. You can see it, I believe.
Yes.
Thank you. These subjects are very extensive and also can be mentioned by so many different aspects. For this reason, I try to make a priority arrangement and to narrow down the issues. At first, I will talk about the situation about violence against women and children in Turkey and the statistics about these issues. The second concept I want to mention is the legal regulations in Turkey in order to protect women and children against violence and also the international conventions that we are a party to. To conclude, I will mention about a subject that is on the agenda of almost the whole world nowadays, the withdrawal of Turkey from the Istanbul Convention. I will try to mention about this decision and what this decision caused and may cause, and also the official and non-official reasons about it. After the presentation, we will have time for a Q&A session. I can have your questions at that part, but also please do not hesitate to ask your questions during the presentation. I would be more than happy if we make an interactive talk. So, violence against women and children in Turkey. I will try to show some statistics in here for you. In this slide, I want to mention about the statistics about violence against women and children. In the graphic, you can see that the femicides, sexual violence against women, sexual violence, and suspicious death rates. These are the numbers, and also the date will be 2018 and 2020. In the graphic, you can see the numbers of femicide, I mean women killed by men, sexual violence against women, sexual violence against children, and also the numbers of suspicious deaths between 2018 and 2020. Before giving any explanations, I would like to say first that these numbers are not the exact numbers and unfortunately much less than the real numbers. Because one of the biggest problems we are facing in Turkey is that the real numbers are often hidden. These numbers you see in the graphics are the cases that come to the courts and also the ones reflected in the press.
I'm sorry, we're still on the first page of the presentation.
You couldn't see the first page?
No, we're still on the first page. We don't see the stats.
Yeah. You are seeing the statistic right now, right?
No, the first page, the women's rights in Turkey.
Oh,
The cover page.
I don't know why. Okay, then I will try to put it. Wait, I will try share screen once more. Can you see it right now?
Yes.
Yeah. Now? Is it okay?
Yeah, it's perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So again, once more, I would like to give the numbers about femicide, as you can see, sexual violence against children, and suspicious deaths between 2018 and 2020. It is not possible for us in Turkey to know the exact statistics, but as professionals and NGOs working on the field, we know that the reality is much more worse and scary than these numbers. Even though I mentioned that these numbers are a lot less than the reality, as you can see, they are already too much. In 2018, 255. In 2019, 328. In 2020, 300 women were killed by men only because of their gender. I want to expand the subject a little bit more and to talk about the matter of honor. And here you can see that 138 women were killed inside the house and 86 in places outside the house, such as office, hospital, woods, traffic, and car park. 65% of them were killed by the men in their closest proximity, such as husbands and boyfriends. 185 women were killed by their husbands, fiancés, ex-husbands, and boyfriends. 56 women were killed by their family members, such as fathers, sons, grandchildren, and son-in-law. At least 26 children were killed under such pretext as hurting or taking revenge on the women whom they inflicted violence on. 14 children were killed by their fathers, stepfathers. 1 child was killed by her ex-boyfriend. 2 children were killed by their elder brothers. 1 child was killed by her husband, whom she had been forced to marry at a young age. This is the numbers of 2020, and you can see that the 65% of husband boyfriend, the 19% are family members who committed femicide.
I'm sorry because we still see the violence against women and children. Yeah, if you can just move to the another slide.
I'm actually moving to the other slide, but I think it's not showing. Maybe like this without the presentation on. Wait. Like in here, you should have seen it, right? Can you see it now? Morgan?
Yes, now it's yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
We see it.
Okay. This was the numbers I was trying to show to you. Then maybe I want to open the presentation and just move like this. It's moving right now, right? Can you see the slide?
Yes, it does.
Moving?
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Sorry for the technical problems. In Turkey,
the word, carry on.
Okay. In Turkey, under the bad influence of cultural and traditional norms, women faced with violence due to the honor concept, being property of a man, before the marriage father, after the marriage husband, after giving birth son, has given women the role to protect the man's honor in ways that are not certain and also changes through time and place. When we examine the crimes, it is possible that most of the perpetrators are the husbands, boyfriends, and fathers, and the murderers are also committed due to honor. So, you can see the specific data in here once more about those femicides. As you can see, this is a very tragic picture. To continue with the graphics, in 2018, 249, 2019, 283, and in 2020, 243 women are sexually abused, and also 347 children in 2018, 279 in 2019, and 265 children in 2020 were sexually abused. You can see now the statistics page, the first slide, right?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So in here, I would like to mention about suspicious deaths. As I said before, there are no exact numbers about the femicides or sexual violence against women or children. And the suspicious deaths are also women, we don't know the cause of that and also who killed them. But mostly the reason is violence against women. We write them as suspicious deaths in here. I would like to talk about legal regulations about sexual abuse in Turkey right now. This is a really important issue, and the legal regulations are also so good about this issue in Turkey. In Turkish law, sexual abuse against children under 15 years old, in any case considered as abuse, and in these situations, consent does not matter. It is not a crime based on complaint, and if the child is under 12 years old, the penalty is given over an upper limit. Molestation is also covered by this regulation, but penalty increases in case an organ or other object is inserted into the body, like in rape situation. Sexual abuse against children older than the age of 15 depends on the situation. In case of force, threat, deceit, it is considered as another crime, which can be called as intercourse with a minor, so not abuse, but intercourse. And this, in this matter, that does require complaint and less punishment than sexual abuse. I would like to mention here that Turkish law considers everyone under age of 18 as child, but after saying this, I would like to mention another important issue. The next slide, child marriage. As I said before, everyone under age of 18 is considered as child, so also the legal age of marriage is also 18. But at 17, it is possible to marry with the permission of the family. And also at 16, it is possible to marry by court order under exceptional circumstances and on vital grounds. This number gives us so many unsolved problems. First of all, if everyone under 18 is a child, how can law give permission for a 17-year-old to marry with the consent of the family? Who will protect the interests of the child? And how are we going to know that this is not a forced marriage? Another important issue is the regulation made for the age of 16. What is exceptional circumstances and vital grounds? Who are going to say this is an exceptional circumstances or vital ground? In practice, we face with cases where the child is pregnant and applies to the court for marriage permission. In most of the cases, this kind of situations are considered as exceptional circumstances. Is this really an exceptional circumstances or in sexual abuse? The court does not consider these issues the way they should, and without any investigations and without an assessment of whether the child is ready for marriage or not, gives the permission for the marriage. In my point of view, these decisions are legalized sexual abuse and for surely unacceptable. Also, child marriage is a major issue that cannot be reduced to these explanations. So many child, even under age of 16, are getting married illegally. Some of these cases come up when the child gets pregnant and somehow enters the health system. Girls are mostly more affected as a victim of this crime, but also marriage between underage boys and girls are common. These children are forced to get married with an older person for different reasons, such as earning financial gain, to cover up a case of sexual abuse, and etc. In any case, we know that early and forced marriages causes so many tragic consequences. The other slide, yeah. For the last 25 years in Turkey, 15 out of 100 children are married early or by force. 1/3 of marriages were marriages between relatives, and 4 out of 10 were married with bride price. More than half of those who marry early give birth at the age of 18 to 19. 1/3 of the girls victim of early marriage give birth at 16 and 17 years old. Accordingly, 1 out of every 5 women between the ages 18 and 45 in Turkey was married at a child age. Moreover, they became mothers before they turned even 18. So I really find these numbers very tragic and unfortunate, actually. We know that early marriages are very dangerous and has irreversible consequences for children. Early marriages causes women to be a victim of domestic violence, physical, emotional, verbal, and sexual violence also, and increases the risk of exposure to violence. Early marriages further increase the social pressure on married women. Women can be trapped inside the house. In case of absence of an official marriage, women cannot have any rights or guarantees due to civil law in Turkey. Violence and poverty can increase the rate of girls running away from home and the possibility of being victim of human trafficking. Early marriages prevent girls from the right of education. Women who are married at an early age cannot sufficiently benefit from employment opportunities, and they will have unqualified jobs, only with low wages and, unfortunately, without security. Most of the women who were married at an early age and forcibly are under patriarchal pressure and has difficulty reaching to the necessary healthcare services as they are not able to make independent decisions. Early marriage could cause various diseases and psychological disorders. And also, these marriages often mean early motherhood. In early pregnancy, the risk of miscarriage, stillbirth, and preterm birth is real high. Between 15 and 20 years of age in Turkey, maternal mortality rate in births is 4 times higher than older ages. The risk of suicide in women increases in early and forced marriages. And for almost this 25 years I mentioned about, there are so many women who committed suicide because of these early marriages situation, and it's also been hidden by the government and also by the press and etc. I would like to talk more about this child marriage and the campaigns that the Turkish people did about this issue. For so many years, Turkey is combating against child marriage. There are laws to prevent the problem, but as I believe this problem can only be solved by the loss of social legitimacy. Many effective projects have been done to prevent the issue, and I would like to share an example with you. As you can see from here, this woman is a hairdresser who makes bright hairs for the weddings, and it's written in the part, "I put daisies on the heads of those under 18, not wheel." And also, many effective projects like this were also made. So many cities, the hairdressers and barbershops put these kind of signs to their workplaces saying we do not accept children as brides or grooms. Also, the shop sells wedding dresses do the same campaign. I think that this kind of campaigns are a lot more important than the legislations. But of course, the legislations are very important too, and I want to give a brief information from Turkish law. First of all, I would like to mention about the international conventions which Turkey is a party of. Yeah. For violence against women, we are party of CEDAW Convention, the Convention on the Elimination for All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, and also Istanbul Convention, the Council of Europe Convention on Preventing and Combating Violence Against Women and Domestic Violence. As you may know, and I mentioned earlier before my presentation, Turkey withdrew from this convention with a decree in 20 March 2021 at midnight. This decision caused a big reaction, but we couldn't prevent the result. In the 1st of July, our withdrawal will be official, and Turkey will be the first country that gives a withdrawal decision about the convention. And also, I would like to say that Turkey was also the first country signed the convention. In the next slides, I will mention more deeply about the situation. Also, for violence against children, we are a party of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Child and also Lanzarote Convention, which is the Council of Europe Convention on the protection of children against sexual exploitation and sexual abuse. This convention also affected our domestic law, and regulations were made in line with these conventions. We have so many laws related with the issue of violence against women and children, such as criminal law, as I mentioned earlier about the sexual abuse part, and civil law, and etc. But in here, I will mention the ones which specifically regulated in order to protect women and children. For violence against women, we have the law on the protection of the family and prevention of violence against women. As you can see from the title of this law, it's written family and also prevention of violence against women. This is an important issue. This is one of the most important regulations in the Turkish law. The law references the Istanbul Convention actually, and it enables cautionary decisions against violence such as suspension, protection measures, and anonymity, and etc. This law covers all kinds of violence against everyone, especially violence based on gender and mostly for women and children. There is no accusations towards anyone, especially for men. By this, I mean the perpetrator is not mentioned as a man or a woman or etc. The term of violence has been used. So there is no gender-based distinction in the language of the law. But of course, in practice, mostly women are the victim of violence, so women benefit the most from the law. Also, as you can see in the title of the law, you can see the concept of family. But the law is not only for domestic violence, it covers the danger of violence coming from everyone. It is only a conservative choice to put the word family on the title due to the social norms. These norms are also one of the biggest reasons of the withdrawal from the Istanbul Convention. The convention and this law I was talking about is considered as the cause of degeneration of the Turkish family structure. Conservatives consider the law as home destroying, so actually violence against women is still ignored and women are having difficulties to make their voices heard. Also for violence against children, we have the law of child protection, and this law is really important also. This is the law that considers the best interest of child. It is the reference mostly the United Nations Convention on Rights of the Child. Yes. So now I want to mention about the withdrawal decision about the Istanbul Convention and what is the importance of this decision for Turkey and for women's rights in Turkey. The official reason presented by the government for the withdrawal is that the convention naming sexual orientation and that this naming causes the normalization of homosexuality. This reason by itself cannot be accepted, of course, and very tragic. In 2021, using words like normalizing towards LGBTI community is an important and tragic indicator that Turkey has failed on human rights. The non-official reasons, which are not presented but known from us, is that Erdogan's government was under pressure because of the judicial decisions against early marriages. As I mentioned before, child marriage is not a legal issue, but it is a social issue. That is why the social legitimacy should be abolished, but we cannot say the government is on the right path to do so. Also among Erdogan's supporters, many of them believe women should not have alimony, neither half of the property acquired during the marriage. The reforms in the Turkish civil codes accepted during the EU accession process are making a lot of conservatives very uncomfortable. These regulations considered as women gaining too much power against men, and the patriarchy is certainly uncomfortable with that. Also, the conservatives' statements upon the degeneration of the Turkish family structure caused as a result of the convention is another reason, as I explained earlier. So what is the importance for us about the withdrawal decision and why women's rights movement opposes this decision? Women are subjected to violence in all areas of life only because of their gender. And unfortunately, the social norms justifies this violence. Not only in the society, also in the field of law, law enforcement as members of the society ignores this violence. In this respect, the Istanbul Convention is very important as it makes this violence visible in the society and especially in the field of law. Even though we have regulations about protecting women against violence in our domestic law, as I mentioned before, the law numbered 62 and 84, will increase their reluctance to combat against violence. And Istanbul Convention is the fundamental base of these legal arrangements. And also there is a tendency in the administration to ignore the violence against women and its consequences. Exiting from the Istanbul Convention will increase their reluctance to combat. Additionally, NGOs are already facing a lot of problems to get in contact with governmental institutes. They are going to weaken even more. Last but not least, Turkey is not only exiting from Istanbul Convention, but also from Grevio. Turkish women are losing Council of Europe's monitoring mechanism over the Turkish state. With this decision of withdrawal, the government denied existence of violence against women and the need of protection of women that the government already failed enough to protect. As you can see from the statistics, which I believe too much and very tragic and cannot be ignored, the protection of women is really hard in Turkey, and with this decision, government has made a clear strike on women's visibility, presence, and voice in Turkey. Another important issue is that the official reason presented by Erdogan and his government, which is normalizing homosexuality. For this reason, exiting Istanbul Convention is a very dangerous sign about LGBTI rights in Turkey. Istanbul Convention might be the first victim of Erdogan's effort to please his conservative supporters because, as I mentioned earlier, this was actually because of the conservative views in Turkey. This is a clean of the recent political orientation that leads us to a point which can be easily said that Turkey has failed enough about the protection of women and children, and it is going from bad to worse rather than trying to get better. I would like to end my written here. Thank you all for your interest and having the patience listening to me. If you have any questions, I can have now.
thank you for your presentation. And I actually have a question. So basically, you mentioned a very important thing that ironically, Turkey was the first country that ratified Istanbul Convention. So what went wrong? Because you are the first country that actually went out from it. From your perspective, what was the first step that Turkey went on this road to get out from Istanbul Convention?
Actually, reason of signing the convention is that we were really bad at preventing the violence against women. So Turkey needed to sign kind of a convention. But after that, the conservative part of Turkey, and also Erdogan is a conservative government. Erdogan has a conservative government. So they believe that this convention is against traditional Turkish family structure. And also, as I said before, it's about LGBTI rights, and it's a really dangerous sign for LGBT community in Turkey nowadays.
Yeah, you mentioned that one of the main arguments to withdraw from the Istanbul Convention was to normalize sexuality. What is the common opinion about homosexuality among Turkey society?
Yeah, actually, LGBT important campaigns and projects in Turkey, but still not seen by the society. And also, I cannot say that they are in a bad situation, but after the withdrawal decision, they became in a bad situation. Because, like even as I said before, even using the word normalizing is a really bad thought and cannot be. I'm so sorry. I have some problem with my.
Don't worry.
So sorry. I'm coming in a minute. Yes, I had an electricity problem. I'm so sorry.
That's fine. Don't worry. Don't worry. It happens.
Yeah. Yeah. So I can say it like that. The LGBTI community is in a really bad situation right now after the withdrawal of the Istanbul Convention. But they were in a good situation before the withdrawal decision. But now, by even using the word normalization of homosexuality, the government says the society that homosexuality is not a normal thing. It should be ashamed. The people, LGBT community should be ashamed of themselves, and that they are not normal, and they're not acceptable for the society and for the government and also for Turkey.
Yeah, and do you think, from your perspective, is it possible that it's gonna start domino effect? Because as you know, Poland also is aiming to withdraw from Istanbul Convention. And what's your opinion about the current situation also in Poland?
Actually, Erdogan also mentioned about Poland's situation when he gave the withdrawal decision. He said that even Poland and some other countries are trying to withdraw from the decision, withdraw from the convention. I think everything has a domino effect in the world, but I hope not. So we couldn't prevent this result in Turkey. I hope you can.
And based on your experience, what can be done right now when Turkey already withdraw from Istanbul Convention in order to help women, the situation of women in Turkey, and also LGBTQ plus community?
Mm-hmm. As I mentioned about our legal law, I want to open the presentation once more, if you can wait for a second. This law I mentioned before is actually about Istanbul Convention. So in our domestic law, there is no difference about protection of the woman. The law I was talking about, law on the protection of the family and prevention of violence against women, is a law reference to Istanbul Convention. So we actually have Istanbul Convention in our domestic law. And this law enables cautionary decisions against violence, such as suspension, protection measures, and anonymity, just like in Istanbul Convention. So actually, it's not a big game changer for us to stop having Istanbul Convention in our law. But of course, as I said before, it's a strike on women's visibility in the society. And now in the law enforcement, when women applies to the court or to the to the police and saying that I'm having some problem right now, and the police says them that they cannot use any law for the prevention of this, because the law enforcement does not know that we have such domestic law regulations in Turkey. So Istanbul Convention is actually more important and fundamental base, but we have those laws in Turkish law as well.
So it's very good that you mentioned that even though you withdraw from Istanbul Convention, women are in Turkey are not alone, are not left alone. So I think it was very important to mention. And going back to the child marriage, do you think, is it like a cultural aspect? What does influence that the popularity of child marriages, for example, in countries like Turkey, is that high?
Your voice was a bit blurry, so I couldn't hear the
Yeah,
question.
don't worry. I'm gonna repeat the question about going back to child marriages. What do you think? Is it cultural aspect? To what extent culture influence the high rate of child marriages in countries like Turkey?
Yeah, I understand now. Actually, in social norms from the past, we think that, not we, but most of the society thinks that early marriages is not a big thing, and it's not an important thing, and it's not a vital thing. So children can marry at age after 16 by law. It's also an important issue for people to believe that it's not a big problem to get married at a young age. So the society believes that it's not a big problem actually. So that's why I was trying to say that social legitimacy is very important about the prevention of child marriages.
Yeah, you also mentioned the very important aspect that child marriages bring lack of education in the next generation of women, what brings also long effects on the society.
The question.
Oh no, I was trying to underline the fact that you mentioned also that child marriages is not only just it's about like education, because basically getting into a marriage, it's putting education away from woman's life. So it's also a very important aspect if it comes about empowerment of women.
Yes, and also education of girls is a very important issue, and for that issue also we have made so many campaigns and projects. And after the marriage, of course, the husband doesn't want the girl to go to the school or to the university, etc. And this causes women not to have any qualified jobs, unpaid women, and also economic violence towards women. It's a domino effect, actually.
What can you say about the attitude of young generation? Are they trying to fight with this stereotypical like gender roles in the Turkish society?
Yes, of course. It's a lot of, about gender roles, because like I'm a girl, and my parents were in a good way parenting me. But even if I was raised good, I had so many problems about being a girl. I wasn't a man, I wasn't a boy, and I shouldn't be acting like a boy, and I should learn. Oh, there is a question. I should learn how to manage the house, not to read books, and also, like the boys needs to do so many things and bring money to the house. But my job wasn't that since I was a child. Yeah. So, in your opinion, are the women in Turkey feeling secure and free to stand up against the regulations that are on now? How big, in your opinion, is the support from a non-governmental side? We are not feeling secure and free, actually, as I can say. How big, in your opinion, is the support from a non-governmental side? Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, but we can't see you.
Yes, I think there's a problem with the internet connection.
But we can hear you. Don't worry.
Yes, okay. Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah.
Actually, we're not feeling secure and free, and I want to open the statistics once more. How can a woman be safe and secure in such circumstances? In 2020, 300 women were killed by their husbands, by their boyfriends, by another man walking on the street. So there is no security and safe zone for women in Turkey, actually. I think so. Non-governmental side, support from the non-governmental side, actually, there is no support from governmental side. The only support is from non-governmental side. But the government is also preventing the non-governmental organizations to prevent this issue and to work on the field. So this is a big problem also about this issue.
I'm gonna put it my personal opinion because I find it very inspirational. Because you're fighting for something that matters, and it's really really good to see a woman, fighting for women's rights in Turkey. And what is your main motivation that you're doing what you do actually?
Hmm. It's a thank you, by the way, from the chat. What is my motivation? Since university, I am dealing about issues about human rights, and also I'm a woman, so I'm dealing with all the violence against women by myself. Also, I'm exposed to violence in every field of life. So that is the reason. Actually, I want to. Maybe this is the reason that I want to deal with these issues. And also, after becoming a lawyer in the field, I saw so many bad cases that you cannot even imagine in your daily life. And I really wanted to help those people and to start a domino effect, maybe in a good way for those women and for those children. If I can, I started this way by saying, if I can only help one person a day or one person for my whole career, it will be enough for me.
That's very well said. And you also mentioned that you were also exposed to violence while living and functioning in Turkey. What kind of violence are you talking about, and from what age you actually spotted that? And another question, like kind of related to that one, is it what kind of violence is socially acceptable in Turkey?
Hmm. So for the first question, what violence do I exposed to? Every kind of violence, actually, and not in only one age. Since my childhood, I was exposed to violence because of the gender role. Verbal violence was always there, and also physical violence in somehow ways. And also, I'm a lawyer, and for gender roles in Turkey, the lawyers actually should be men, because men are powerful and they have the right to do everything and to affect the court and etc. etc. So as a woman, you are not a good lawyer at all, just because of your gender. So even my clients were used to tell me like Mr. İlayda while they were talking to me. So gender-based violence was always there, and I exposed to it all the time. And can I have the second question again? I didn't write it, so. You have asked one more question.
Oh, yeah, it was like, but you intrigued me about speaking about stereotype as a man, as a lawyer. How did you deal with it? Because I can imagine that being a woman is in a lawyer society, yeah, it must be hard to.
Yeah, it's also traumatic, and it's also really hard. Sometimes I feel really bad about this issue, but most of the time I feel more powerful by combating all these things. It's more, it's giving me more power to fight against violence.
From what I can understand, is very important what you said. Like from injustice, you're finding the power. So like that's the true example of empowerment. Like you are witnessing, and you've been witnessing for whole your life while living in Turkey, injustice in every single field. If it comes about violence, if it comes about discrimination, gender discrimination, and still you are here and using this as a way to get through this. So that's really, I really appreciate, and well done to you.
I actually want to give an example from one of my cases that I witnessed a case. A woman in Rize district in Turkey. The husband of this woman was trying to marry once more with the sister of this woman. So sister of his wife, actually. And the wife doesn't want this to happen and saying the husband, I don't want this. You cannot marry my sister. And after a while, the physical violence got worse, and the woman were pushed from by his husband from the stairs and was almost dying and stayed 6 months in the hospital for recovery. And this woman comes to me for a divorce. And this was actually a game changer for me. Make me understand that there are so many really bad women situation, and I really need to help them. I really need to fight. I cannot feel sorry for myself or feel sorry for anyone, because we're not victims actually, and we have to fight with this inequality in every field.
That's also very important what you said, like your personal motivation is to help others. But what if you're trying your best and it's still not working? We sometimes like some walls you just can't cross without, no matter what you do. What keeps you there? Your mind, like to not give up.
How can I say? It's just sometimes hard. It's really actually hard. And sometimes when I come back home at night, I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm devastated now. I really don't want to fight anymore. But then in a training session, I meet with women and see the light in their eyes. When I tell them about legal protection ways, I see that I can help them, and I'm helping them actually. And as I said before, only one woman or one children is enough for me to change something.
Yes, it's really important to start from small things and then step by step create a bigger wave for a change.
Yeah.
And I can definitely understand you. Sometimes it's really hard when you see all the victims or the brutality around you, it's really hard to step back from it and not live their life, what is really demanding. So I really appreciate what you're doing. It's definitely very crucial part. And despite of this movement that is happening in Turkey and all around the Europe, the populism, those people who are saying that women have no right and that we are born only to give a birth or to stay at home. So I'm sure that every single woman who's watching it can definitely relate to sexism that she has experienced in her life. And also, it's not only about being women. There are women who are women of color. There are women who are sexual minorities. There are women who have some traumas. And I'm sure that there's still so much to do to make this world better and to provide a relief, more general relief, not only focus on those groups, but to make sure that every single woman, every single person has the access to the help. It can be medical help, it can be just a safe place to stay. So I'm aware after your presentation that situation is far from being perfect, but I'm grateful, extremely grateful that we have people like you who are showing every single day that it's possible. That you're fighting for a single person and you are giving so much effort to help this single person. So I'm definitely overwhelmed by your activism and your values, which
Yes,
are
yeah. You're definitely giving hope to those who are hopeless right now. So
I
thank
am
you
also,
for doing this.
yeah, I am also thinking this about the think talks you're doing also. Like, I'm from Turkey, you're from Poland, and we are meeting here about violence against women and children and talking about this and talking about our experiences and talking about our thoughts. So I really believe that something will change. Time will pass and things will change, and we will prevent this inequalities. Yeah, I really believe that.
I think
And we
feminism
can probably, sorry, go on.
I think feminism is a new wave of what it means to be a rebel in the society. Uh, I personally was raised in a country and by people who were thinking very specific way, not exactly giving me a freedom of choice. So I can definitely relate to what you're saying. And having women who are supportive around you and who share similar values. I'm not saying about the same values because we have vast the diversity of people, and it's okay that we're not the same. This is what makes us so special. But even despite those differences, we're still able to come together. We're still able to fight for the common thing. And you definitely you have I can guarantee you that there are thousands of women from Poland who are supporting your movement in Turkey. And this is what is amazing about being a woman nowadays. 21st
Yeah,
century is the century where being a woman is a power that gives you a lot. So amazing experience.
yeah, I think so too. And thank you, Poland.
I'm very glad that we had this conversation today. I would definitely look forward to see what you're going to do in Turkey and all around for children and for women. And we'll definitely support your activism. And thank you for being today with us. It was very insightful. We learned a lot, and you're an amazing person. You're an amazing woman. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your kind words and for the opportunity also.